I'm posting it. We're live now. We're live now, and this 60 Minutes clip from 1 week ago is now at 7.3 million views. It's like their most viewed recent video on 60 Minutes. The news cycles are obviously paying attention to the fact that UFO stories are hot news. Everyone wants to hear about UFOs. Everyone's talking about UFOs. But we're going to talk about this recent release that happened just a few days ago from Jeremy Corbell with this UFO radar data, and we're going to talk about this UFO radar data and analyze it and talk about some of our investigations into, you know, just what's going on with these tic tacs. And so first off, we'll start with the fact that we'll have a map of this was shown also on 60 Minutes. This is off the coast of North Carolina and Virginia in the U.S., and it shows this area where the tic tacs have been spotted, where a lot of this activity was reportedly seen by these pilots every day, daily, and they chase these things around this area for over a year. And so we started,
and they're still chasing them around.
And they're still chasing them around. And the other area that they said that they chased these things was in where was this this radar data here is from San Diego.
The USS Omaha was the video Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp did the other day. That's the one where Mick West tries to say it's a weather balloon or something, and I think Mick West is way off on that one. Because the thing's going 149 knots. It's like 160 miles an hour, and then changes directions. And there's no weather balloon that's going to blow that fast, unless even if the wind is going that fast.
So the thing is, right, there's all these explanations from the skeptics and stuff, and they get popular and they get on these, you know, mainstream channels to talk about their theories and stuff. But we talk about theories on this channel that really don't make their way on the mainstream. And
show the radar track picture that I sent you, and it's right there, San Clemente Island.
So yeah, so no, let me cover this, Dan. So just bring new people into this. This is the other area where these things have been seen. So these UFOs are being seen in Virginia and North Carolina, right here in this area. And they're being seen in this area.
Which is the naval station at Norfolk. Dam Neck.
We'll get there. So let's take it one step at a time, Dan. So we're trying to make these connections between why these UFOs are only seen in this area and that area. So we went poking around on what is in these areas, and we found some remarkable connections between both these areas and the military presence and the types of facilities and radar spoofing technologies that are in existence on both these facilities.
And we literally have the paperwork. Well,
right.
Victor helped us out with that. Victor, my hat goes out to Victor. He hooked me up with some pretty cool information.
So we got a bunch of people on the team who are investigating this types of stuff, and we've been going down this rabbit hole lead with, is it military? Is it ours or theirs? You know, is this the military using radar spoofing technology? And so here's the radar station right here where they do all the radar spoofing on San Clemente Island. I'm going to
and the name of that station is called hold on a minute, I'll send you that.
So let's get the coordinates out there, and I'll copy them so that people can post that in the live chat so people can check out this. So they have this radar stations that are here, and this is called electronic warfare.
Mm-hmm. They built that station in 1991.
So I have a thing here from, this is in Lakehurst, New Jersey. U.S. Navy airborne electronics warfare experiments are continuing their support of radar spoofing electronic warfare technology from Mercury Systems Incorporated that can fool enemy radar systems with false and deceptive moving targets. And this was in January 27th, 2017. And it just so happens that, you know, San Clemente Island, they have this facility here right on San Clemente Island, and they have some other facilities here right on the coast with this is all Navy from Oceanside and Carlsbad up to Dana Point and Laguna Niguel. this is all Camp Pendleton. It's a gigantic military testing range and facility range. So there's
and another thing, remember the Navy SEALs are on both spots.
Yeah, so the Navy SEALs are the key, because the Navy SEALs are the only ones that would have the clearance or the need to know about these programs that are being tested out on Navy pilots, like David Fravor, who did not have the need to know. And a lot of these people on board the Nimitz and that we've interviewed and talked to, which I've asked many of them to interview and come on my show for an interview to talk about this side of the story, but so far we've had a hard time getting them to come on and answer questions and talk about this kind of stuff, because it's again too sensitive, and it's I think it's related to everything that's going on right now, or it could be. We have the two sides of this. We have the apex side of this, where we have a conference where we invite all the best physicists and engineers to come and analyze these ideas for new technology and whether they're feasible and buildable and constructible in labs. And we have a whole facility for that. So we believe that, there could be ETs out there, like Carl Sagan said, we're definitely not alone. We just need more proof of this. And we don't want to be like a cargo cult. We don't, I compared myself to a cargo cult, these cargo cults in South America. In South America, the tribal peoples will see military come in, clear a land strip, and build a radar tower, and then all these airplanes start landing and bringing them all kinds of goods and supplies and stuff. So they see that, and they go out in the desert, and they go out in the jungle, and they'll clear a piece of land. They'll build. I have pictures of this cargo cults.
Never heard of a cargo cult, my friend.
You never heard of this, dude? They build airplanes out of like bamboo reeds and
type
sticks.
Of weird stuff. Okay.
Yeah, they build like the radar tower down to
I thought you were talking about making classified programs in the South American jungle, which I've heard of.
Nope, before. They just try to copy the technology, but they don't understand the real physics. They don't have engineering teams and stuff. Yeah, they build these radar stations, and they clear a landing strip, and they build an airplane, and they think it's going to summon the gods to start bringing them airplanes full of equipment, like they see these military guys do. It's like their interpretation of
How would they know what a satellite looks like, though, if they're in the middle and cut off from the rest of the world?
Well, they see it on the military base. They watch the military bases from afar. Okay. So they're looking at the military base, and they said, well, these guys cleared a strip of land, and they built this stuff, and then all of a sudden these sky birds from heaven start coming down and bringing them all kinds of goods. And that's how they interpret it. And it's
interesting.
It's interesting, and it's human, and it's a crude comparison to what APEC is trying to do with UFOs currently, and we see their technology, and we're trying to build and replicate it, but we don't understand the nanotechnology and the real core physics of what goes into making it all work quite yet. But luckily, we have really advanced physics now compared to and really high level technical understandings of technology compared to what these primitive people have. So I think we have obviously a better shot of succeeding in, where we have the materials. We're not just going to building these things out of sticks and reeds. We're all interested in down to the material science and really getting down on this. So this is the separation. Is this the military? Does the military really have this technology? I mean, obviously they've been concerned about UFOs for a long time. But if you look back at the history of UFOs, all this stuff that's being put out right now it's like the same story since the 1950s that's being repeated over and over again in this community. Where's there's a whole general from the Project Blue Book. You ever seen that video with the general from Project Blue Book?
I'm sure I have.
And he explains the whole cover up and UFO scene. But anyways, it's the same stuff being recycled over, and the military is not talking about, again, the technologies but the spoofing technologies are of particular interest, because we have such abilities to create talking plasma balls, these electronic warfare capability with psychological psyops and electronic warfare. And then we look at where these
invented at Area 51. Ed Fouché talked about radar spoofing way before anybody else did.
That's true. in 1998 he was talking about it, and he said where the real S4 was. It was out at Tonopah Test Range, and that's where the electronic warfare.
Barnes said the same thing. Project
was.
Palladium and Project what's the other one, Jeremy? It's Project Palladium and Project
Nemesis.
Nemesis. Yep.
Yes, Project Nemesis.
It's just over the ocean.
So they have all these technologies. So when they talk about Elizondo and all these other guys talk about these balloons that can drop 80,000 feet, so they can go from like they can they go from the surface all the way up to the sky instantly, and then they can or they can come down from the sky and come right down to the surface and then just stop. That technology is all explainable with Nemesis and Palladium and stuff, and it talks about how they do it with the spoofing technology, where they can create the radar signature in that area. They can create a physical object that pilots can see with their own eyes, and they can get it to do whatever. And it's really advanced what they're doing. This command and control warfare stuff. Okay, what's called command and control warfare. That's what it's termed. And I guess it's like, I played Command and Conquer and all these objective strategy games on the computer back in the day, where it was war strategy objective games. And I swear, all these kids grew up, and they're all like in their 40s now, and they grew up playing all these games on their computers and stuff. And I actually know friends of mine that are really high ranking in the military who work in places like this.
Yeah, they grab video game players.
They love them. Yes. Oh, absolutely.
They recruit them all the time.
And this is what they're trying to set up with the future of electronic warfare. They want a bunch of these guys like Command and Conquer style, controlling all these drones and all these ships and all these, they want it all electronic, real time. They want to
eliminate human error with pilots and stuff. The new B-2 bomber coming out, the B-21, which it's on its way. There's no pilot.
They're going to eliminate human casualties. I mean, the future with all that Boston Dynamics is developing, it's all going to be Terminator-style robots in the future, and humans aren't going to fight in the wars. They're just going to die as civilians or the targets of whoever our political enemies are. It's really crazy what the military is turning into and becoming. And I think this is only the start. If we continue to buy into this threat narrative and funnel more money into them, they're just going to continue to not tell us what's really going on and not be open with us. But
it's just strange that you have a radar spoofing facility right there in the center of San Clemente Island. And then I sent you the picture.
So this is the SEALs. Then this is the SEALs, right? So we have the U.S. Navy right here, the Air Force right here. This is the Marines, and this is the Navy SEALs, the Navy SEAL station right up here.
Coronado and
MARSOC right there.
Yeah. So right off the island. Is Special Forces Marines.
So it's even above the Navy SEALs.
That's still that's not above the Navy SEALs. But that's the same. They're the Special Forces for the Marines. Marine Special Operations Command or something like that.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for clarifying that. But we also have, some radar facilities and other stuff up around here that could, so they could be doing this spoofing from between here and here, and they could create an array of almost anything. But realistically, they only need a single point to create the arrays from, and to broadcast these signals. They have this laser that they can create a plasma ball in the air and fly it around and make it talk and make it move. And then they can spoof the radar to see these things besides. So all that radar stuff technology that came out, it doesn't mean anything unless you have an operational understanding of how these types of things work. Now, I mentioned in my other video how this is, we got the 60 Minutes saying that this is the general area.
Look at that.
Right off of there. So I started looking around in this area. I found that blimp hangar. As you recall, the blimp hangar right down here at TCOM, and this is where they did Project Echo and a number of the satellite projects that look like these giant balloon things. And they currently run these surveillance blimps out of there. And I talked about a potential source for this with all the balloon technology and how the Zeppelin fleet was retired in the 1960s, and that was a whole possibility of what this thing could have been too, like their balloons or blimps. Is it ours or theirs? Because we still have the ideas for the Tic Tacs and these metamaterials, but no one's actually built this stuff and tested it out yet and shown us anything. Like, we're still working on that technology, if that's really what these things are, and they're extraterrestrials flying around. But there's another hypothesis for it as well, and this is the Oceanside Naval Air Station, which is like right there close to the border as well. And we were poking around here. We've been up since 5 this morning going over all this, and we're like, we got to go live. And
well, you and I always talk between 4 and 6 in the morning because we both work the same kind of stuff. And I get up at 5. Or I get up at 4 every morning and start looking around.
And this would blew our minds. This is the Camp Pendleton State Military Reservation, but it's in Virginia. So is there two Camp Pendletons, or is the what's going on at that Camp Pendleton related to what's going on here at this Camp Pendleton Military Reserve Station? I just don't.
Which is all on Dam Neck. Which
I got to get some answers for we get.
If you look up Dam Neck, Virginia, you'll see what goes on there. That's all real high classified training, and the Navy SEALs are there. That's where all the schools are for the Navy.
So let's show we found this. So we found this radar dome. This is a massive radar dome. These are Humvees.
It's like 60 feet.
This thing is like, let's measure the distance here. It's like 60 feet, 68 feet. It's almost 70 feet. Yeah. This thing is
massive.
That's a massive dome. Not sure what goes on there, but if that's the broadcast, it's similar to the domes that we saw out on San Clemente.
And if you come south down that road, right there's where Navy Dev Group is. Right there is where SEAL Team 6 is. Right there.
Right here. Navy Lodge.
No, above there. North. Go north. This whole area here. It even tells you. It says... yeah,
I might have to go to...
I looked it up.
Dam Neck. Yeah, this is...
That's where all the training goes on. Teams, all the even teams are on the East Coast. All the odd teams, number-wise, are on the West Coast.
Yeah.
It's weird that all this stuff is happening right off where all the naval stations are. If something happens off the coast of, like, let's say Maine or something, or Canada or something, then, your theory is wrong. I'm saying your theory. This might not be my theory. I believe it could be.
They might be setting up more of these, though, and I would agree that the next step that I would go if I were the military and I had this technology is to put it on a battleship and make it mobile. Put it on a platform or put it on a blimp. Make it. You could broadcast this from a high-powered blimp. You could beam the energy with a microwave, like you shoot the microwaves at this thing on the blimp, and there's all these ideas, these technologies that get thrown around and then combined with one another. But this is interesting, the Camp Pendleton Reserve Station and these connections that we made this morning going over this.
Camp Pendleton's is the Marines, but you got to remember the Navy runs the Marines too.
But why is there? There must maybe some explanation for why there's a Camp Pendleton on the East Coast when Camp Pendleton is actually this huge facility on the West Coast. Here, where all this stuff.
If anybody watched Josh Gates' show the other night, Expedition Unknown, Lou Elizondo and 2 other people went out in a boat off the coast of San Clemente Island. They went to San Clemente Island, and they went out there. You don't know if you trust these shows or not, but they filmed UFOs, and Lou Elizondo started talking about Camp Pendleton right away, and it really surprised me because you've been talking about that now for a month, and I haven't paid any attention to it. This is the first thing he mentioned was Camp Pendleton. And then he had mentioned all the Navy training that goes on over here. Not all of it. But it was an interesting show if anybody hasn't seen it. But Lou got in scuba gear and dove down in the water. That was kind of funny. Yeah, Jeremy's going to interview him at some time. Right, Jeremy?
Who, Lou Elizondo?
Yeah.
I'm going to try and get him on and ask him about all this stuff. I want to ask him more questions about the guy that brought him onto this program, this professor figure, this quintessential theoretical physicist that he talks about.
I want to ask about the paperwork on the radar spoofing facility.
Yes, bro.
QW that I sent you. Do you want to show it or not? And Victor sent it to me, by the way. I did not find it.
So I really hope that we can create anti-gravity technology. I know that there's been a lot of research that's been done by the military and the government into anti-gravity technology, and we talk a lot about that. But let's go. Oh yeah, so someone's asking, that picture of the Tic Tacs. So
we don't know if they're Tic Tacs. It's just weird. They're sitting there, and they have the 2 appendages coming out of the top of them, but The
So
thing that's so
let me
extraordinary
show them
about
where
it,
that is. So if you go over to the North Naval Air Station, you go down the end of the runway at this Ocean Naval Air Station. That's
right
in
there,
Virginia. In Virginia, right here.
they just
Okay.
look like them because they. I've always said that a pair of Tic Tacs, you could put them on the back of a truck and it would look just like an oil tanker. Show the appendages coming out of them. That's not it.
No,
That
someone
thing
mentioned the first comment on the
not
video
there.
with these are hydrogen. That's the facility
They
right
have
here.
two
So,
appendages right there. They are to the left. Remember, they have the two appendages coming out of the top of them. You're off, man. You got to come to the left. To the left, right
oh,
there.
these ones right here.
Look, they have two appendages coming off of the bottom of them. Now, they could be tanks that have something in, but I've always said that these Tic Tacs, if they were made in the 60s at the naval station in Philadelphia, as Michael Schratt and I theorized, him and I went over this for a long time. You could literally throw them on the back of a truck, and if you drove, wouldn't even have to put a cover over it. If it drove past you going down the highway, you would think nothing of it. You would think it was filled with oil or some kind of gas or something. That's why I always found it interesting that they were shaped like that. That is the 1967 case at Wycombe, PA, which was 24 miles north of the Naval Air State or the Naval Air or the Naval ship building station that used to be huge in Philadelphia. It looks like it's closed now. That's where all the boats were built. So is it
Yeah.
possible
So
they were
these.
building these things back then? I mean, that's what Michael thinks. He thinks it's all us, and I don't know. And that
Well,
drawing is a rendering from the guys that witnessed them. Kevin
right
Day.
down here at the end of the highway would be a good spot, but you think there'd be more security on this back road to get in there
Well,
and
it's
stuff,
all on,
you
dude. You
know?
can't just drive in there. That's all. That's all naval station. It's not like you can just drive there. You'd never be able to get in there.
Yeah, in this whole area, huh?
No, you'd never be able to get in there. I can show you the entrance. I sent you a picture of the entrance to that place. It's like guarded like Fort Knox or larger. Think of the terror threat to that place. This place makes Area 51 look like a little playground, huh?
Yeah, it does. It really does. Look at all the jets. I mean, this is huge. I didn't realize the scale of it. It doesn't look that big, and then you zoom in and like, oh, well, that's a F-15. You know, that's pretty massive. Then down all the way at the end of this runway is like where this facility is, and these things look like vents, like they go to these massive underground facilities. Or, but this could also be wind tunnels where they do experimental testing. Like that's why is there? I have no clue what these things are, but I would like to know. Anyone have any idea on the live chat? Please post it or do a timestamp to 22 minutes, 23 minutes.
The problem is the guys I know that know what all this stuff is, they would never come on a video and talk. Ever.
No. Well, they can the people comment
I can ask
anonymously.
them questions and they'll tell me the answer, but I'm never allowed to say who they are. They just don't talk. That whole area there is filled probably with radar spoofing technology. I'm not saying that your theory with the balloons and stuff and Victor's theory with the balloons, that sounds great and everything, but I just don't know. I mean, to make those two pilots just see what they think they saw and the things flying all around him and stuff, and he's chasing it and all that, that has to be the most incredible technology there is. But if you go back to the two TR-3Bs that were seen in 1989, and it's called the Belgian Wave, Edgar Fouché talked about that and said that it could make it look like there was another one in the sky or 20 F-16s right in front of it. And he was talking about 1989, for God's sakes. He was saying we had radar spoofing technology. And then T.D. Barnes claims it goes all the way back to the 60s in several interviews.
Well, T.D. Barnes is another one. I reached out to T.D. Barnes recently, and he said he could do an interview with me. So we're trying to get him on. That would be amazing if we get Barnes on. He's the one that said when they asked him, like, "Hey, you worked at Area 51 for 38 years. What do you think these Tic Tacs are?" And he said, "Oh, Project Palladium and Project Nemesis. We have the ability to do all that stuff, and people have no idea."
I'm sorry. Believe it or not, the great guitarist Panos Arbonitis is messaging me right now. So
Oh, nice.
I can't not return his message. He rules. Yeah, TD Barnes, when you get him on, I have some questions for him.
That will be great. That will be epic.
About the radar jamming building at Papoose Lake.
Yes, we're going to ask him all about Bob Lazar and Papoose Lake and all that cool stuff. This is a paper that I linked to also in the description here on the future roles of electronic warfare and the information warfare spectrum. This is, from 10 years ago, but it was still insightful for what this is like a projection document of what this is what we're going to be doing for the next 10 years. And so if you want to know what they've done and been doing for the last 10 years, you got to go back 10 years and read these kind of documents. So good stuff all around. I think this is we're getting closer to the truth about what these Tic Tacs are, and really exposing how the mainstream media is just straight up lying to people about this. It's crazy. Let's find that Crystal and Sagar. Oh God, they did a look at this. Is the funny thing, right? When Crystal and Sagar on the Hill have to do a video called.
I've heard of these people before. You keep sending me that. Who are they?
They have 1.32 million subscribers. I don't know. I've never heard of them either. They somehow they have a lot of people watching them, but
they're showing Rachel Maddow on there. Huh? Interesting. She's full of shit.
They've been getting a ton of views on their stuff. People taking UFOs seriously. They have the Obama admitting the UFOs. The footage at the Pentagon and stuff. But this one was their most viewed one, and it was from a week ago, and it's the most interesting because I feel like personally targeted because it says, here's why UFO disclosures are not a Pentagon ploy for more funding. And they don't, of course, it's 10 minutes long, and they don't cover any of the stuff. They just refer to us as the debunkers and push this narrative, and they really don't refer to any of this stuff or go into any detail on any of it. And it just kind of shows you, it's like,
oh man, I think a lot of them they do not like Mick West.
When you have to put out disinfo and propaganda like this to push your story, it's like, come on, all right, here's why it's not a Pentagon psyop. He even says psyop in it. I was like, this makes me laugh, bro. Like,
I do think Mick West is so wrong about saying that USS Omaha video is a freaking balloon blowing around. It's just ridiculous.
Well, he's been like
change directions at 149 knots. There's no fucking way. Excuse my language.
Remember, I mentioned like a straw man too. It's almost like Mick West is playing like straw man because some of his debunking arguments are so like flimsy and like nobody's buying it and falling for it. It's kind of like when, it's kind of like when J. Allen Hynek had that famous swamp gas conference, that just did in his entire career. And everyone started calling, swamp gas. Maybe it's swamp gas, and So yeah, J. Allen Hynek was the Project Blue Book's lead investigator, and he did this conference at this gymnasium, and all these UFO fanatics were there and confronting him with all these cases and questions, and he said one of them was swamp gas, and it became famous, and he got teased and harassed so much. It was like the Seagull thing with Mick West, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But funny stuff. Anyways,
I'm not sure any of it's funny, but yeah.
I mean, not sure it's funny when we're getting 300 people watching us, and Crystal and Sagar are getting a million views on their video with this disinformation, and 60 Minutes is getting
Yeah. When's the report come out?
Million?
When does the report come out? It's coming up here in a week or two, right?
No, that was the original date, but then they extend it so they want the rest of June to be able to do it. So
okay, here's the only thing I have to say about that report. When they don't talk about S Fort Papoose Lake, what does that mean?
Yeah.
When they don't bring it up, because they're not going to bring it up because there's nothing there. I hate to tell people that. It's the truth. There's nothing there.
This has nothing to do with disclosure anyway. We already had that all the conferences, all the official people talking about, like Susan Go, and we got all these armchair UFO people like talking about it like what they want it to be and stuff too. But in reality, the good people from the government are just saying no, it's just a threat assessment task force. So it's like, come on, this isn't disclosure. This is not like they do not. There's a fight going on. There's people that want disclosure and there's people that don't want disclosure, and that's really what it's about.
Well, remember what Ed always said? Ed always said when the older politicians are gone and the younger politicians come in, that's exactly what's happening. He said about the old guard, he said disclosure will happen. He said it'll take between 10 and 20 years. He used to always say that back around 2009. He was dead on the money. He said, when the old guard's out and the new guard's in, he says disclosure will happen. He's always claimed ETs are real. So,
well, I think that they are real, and I think that this might be a soft way to get some of this technology out and stuff by doing it. So they might have spoofed all this with their radar technology and then created this whole thing so that it can go back to that, so that they, maybe they, that way it's like a safe way out. They can be like, oh no, it's just us and it's just this, and it's just this technology that they're seeing, because they could just come out with that tomorrow and everyone would forget about UFOs and it would just disappear. That I mean, the whole alien and UFO topic would just go back into obscurity again. We'd be right back where we were before TTSA and before any of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And nobody would look in if you were trying to come out with a company, like I swear they did that on purpose. So like if you try to come out with a company, they'd be like, oh, this has already been tried before. And it's, I don't know. It's so weird, everything that's gone on, because it also leaves them a way out. As much as it's opening the doors to this whole UFO topic, it's also closing off. It's also leaving the ability for them to close off a lot of these doors by, saying, "Oh no, it's just us."
There's a claim that there's so many other cases with way better video, with way better radar data, with radar equipment we don't even know about, that it would prove beyond any doubt that UFOs or whatever you want to call them are real.
Oh yeah, so they talk about real. I love that, the radar equipment we don't even know about yet. I'm talking
that's
about
what Corbell said the other day. How would you know about that? So he's obviously, if he's telling the truth, they've got people leaking info to them big time.
They do this radar sweep with phased array radar, and that's the other advanced type of radar system. But this is phased array radar. Is really nothing new. They discovered this a long time ago, but the applications of it is kind of new, and then developing it on the nanotech with the nanotechnology is stuff that's more classified, not so talked about. But Dan, you still there?
Oh, yeah, I'm here. I muted myself and shut the camera down just to save the computer. The computer, man, it's really weird. Whenever you and I start talking, the fan on my computer just goes completely off the wall. Both of them. There's two fans in this computer, right? It just goes insane. When I'm on somebody else's podcast, this never happens. It's just can you hear the fans running?
Yeah,
it's incredibly loud.
Yeah, man. I can hear it. As soon as you muted your mic, I noticed that the sound went away. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's nuts.
So here's a super chat, £5 from Hiram Shah. Thank you very much.
Victor's on here right now. I want him to come on.
Flying Triangle seen in state, September 17th, 1960. Yeah, share the StreamYard link with Victor and get him on here, man. I'll send it to him right now.
He's the guy that figured this entire thing out. I'm going to tell you, I haven't told anybody what he has sent me.
If we can get him on to fill in the missing pieces of this, that would be great. Triangle that flies sighted along shore. This was in 1960. It looks just like the TR-3B with the red light in the middle and the blue light in the front and the two white lights in the back.
Yeah, they actually saw one 2 years ago right above me about 10 miles. And the guy went and met up with him and he drew a picture of it. It's identical to what Ed showed me. And then I showed him, Ed's drawings. He's like, man, he goes from the bottom. That's exactly what I saw. And then two other people said they saw the same thing. It's reported on the one UFO site. So they're around here too, whatever these triangles are.
Smash that like button for those of you who just joined. We're talking about the two different, some of the different theories on this new radar technology, this new radar release that Jeremy Corbell came out with that he claims is, amazing proof of aliens and crazy technology. And we're just discussing some technologies that are truly amazing that most of the public doesn't know about, but can easily explain all this data and all this sightings and all this stuff. So come up with alternate explanations, but also keeping our mind open to the possibility that there could be extraterrestrials flying around in vehicles that are controlled by advanced types of technology that we currently are investigating as well with our propulsion conference and a team of scientists who are taking that end of this very seriously as well. But we also like to dive into just, nuts and bolts ufology and what's going on out there.
I'm sending Victor the link, by the way, right now.
I sent him the link, and I hope that he joins, man. I just sent it to him on Facebook. Yep. Victor has been doing some great research into this. And we've been sharing research back and forth on this whole idea of, whether it's balloons, whether it's radar spoofing technology. And we covered the balloons. We covered all the balloon stuff. Well, not all the balloon stuff, but we covered that in pretty good detail in that last stream where we did on the Tic Tacs. But this one, we wanted to focus more on these radar systems and capabilities. And
well, let me ask you this, Jeremy. Then let me ask you this to play devil's advocate. If this is all radar spoofing, and I'm not saying it's aliens, then what did that report Michael Schratt and me and you got down when we were in West Virginia from 1967 that he goes off about, that Tic Tac looking thing that had rivets in it and the 6 appendages on the bottom of it? If they had something back then, but they didn't have the radar spoofing flying around, then what? If you think this is all spoofing, what the hell was that back in 1967 then right there that you have a picture of? And it was dancing around the sky. It literally flew out of the Wycombe River and went straight up into the air. And the Wycombe River, again, is 24 miles in front of the Naval Shipyard in Philadelphia, which was happening back then.
Again, it could be all of the above. It could be that they've seen these things.
Yeah, it could be ships and the spoofing, right?
What if there's real ships that are out there, and then we tried to recreate it with our technology, and then we try to fake it with these other technologies so that you can throw fake ones around too, with the real ones.
I don't know. It's very
it's a rabbit hole, man. I love it, and I doubt this UAP task force that the Senate and Select Intelligence Committee is going to come out with at the end of June is even going to touch on. I really feel like it's going to be like everything else the government does, and underfunded, understaffed, and just they didn't care about it. I don't know, man. There's a lot more people in the if there's a lot more people out there that care about this, and I've been trying to reach my senator, and it's like he never posts anything about this. All the stuff that he cares about is not this. And
some care and some don't. There was a guy on TMZ, a senator yesterday, that said that he doesn't think it's human beings, which was really.
I got to get down there to Jack Reed's office and next week. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that next week. I'm going to go down there and I'm going to find his schedule, and I'm just going to follow him around until I get him on film. I need to know what he has to say about this.
Wow, your chat is really going crazy, man. There's a lot of people on here. There's Burger King.
Yeah, we got
what's up,
almost 300 people. Burger King, what's up, man?
Korzenko, how you doing? I know a number of these people from other shows.
Yeah, dude. These are
from CW Channer. Even though CW took my best Bob Lazar debunk video down, that little creep.
We got to do another one. We could outdo that. People have been talking about us doing a documentary on Lazar. Esoteric Gold's here. What's up, man? Ian Bernard.
I know Lee Veltman's got to be here somewhere, but I don't see him. Lee Veltman does not miss a show ever.
Yeah, I don't know. It's still early, man. There's people that stayed up late last night. It was Saturday,
he lives on the West, or he lives on the East Coast, so it's around noon.
It's kind of weird crowd right now. It's all the people that didn't go to church, but
yeah, and it's funny. You get a hold of me while I'm in bed to freaking come on here.
This is Sunday morning church. Welcome to UFO church.
I'm in bed by 8 or 9 o'clock every night now. I get up at 4.
Let's all sit and talk about the higher powers.
I don't think the people on your channel go to church, bro.
This is our higher power, man.
I'll take a poll on here. I really doubt anybody out there goes to church, my friend. There might be one or two.
This guy, Plan B, he says he goes to the Church of UFO Jesus.
Hey, you know, we should start a church, a UFO church.
I want to start a cult. We'll start.
No, don't say that. We already can't get a goddamn security clearance because of your ass.
Oh yeah, dude, we got to talk about that on the next show. I wanted you to talk.
Yeah, I was denied a fucking job because of knowing Jeremy, I believe, and it's ridiculous what he did to me.
They said it was.
They literally told me it was because of what I do on the internet. It was a government job. It's like
that's not. They said it was something weird. The guy said he'd never seen anything like that.
He never ever has turned a person down for a background check that wasn't criminal. And I said, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "It's because of what you do online." And I'm like, "What do I do online?" He's like, "It seems to be your favorite thing." Well, my favorite thing is UFOs, man. It's like, okay. I think they saw the TR-3B crap and were like, "We aren't hiring this guy. This is insane." That's my personal opinion. Because I think the company that I was trying to get a job with actually makes the damn thing. And then Mike Schratt, I think the company that hired him to shut him up.
Yeah, we were talking about that, and people were asking about it in the last show and stuff.
It's
and,
the biggest.
Like, well, I thought they shut him up, and why is he on your show if they shut him up? And I said, well, he can talk about historical UFO stuff. He just can't talk about present day technologies.
I agree that, my friend. I know someone that did fly in the TR-3B. He's no longer alive.
Well, he claims that he did. We don't know. He was really drunk the times that he claimed that he did to me. So, but that's kind of weird. Yeah, he wouldn't brag about that until he got wicked drunk. That's the weird part.
Well, here's the thing. I'm not going to say anything. The guy that backed the story up looked terrified when I even asked him about it. He literally looked like he was going to take a dump in his pants. I mean, absolutely terrified. We're talking about a grown, really tough man that been in biker gangs and everything, retired from the military, and then went to work for Boeing. And all I did was ask him if he ever seen the TR-3B, and he got so pale because Ed told me he did see it. They're both dead now, so it doesn't matter. And he shook his head up and down, yes, giving me the yes, he wouldn't say anything. And he looked absolutely terrified. It was insane. And that's when I knew that the story wasn't bullshit.
I remember that's what you told me, and that's when I was like, well, maybe it's not bullshit, and I don't know.
The guy's name was Oscar, and he told me a couple other stories that I won't repeat.
I still wonder about this, dude.
About what?
About whether it's a real craft, man. Until they roll this thing out and like admit to it, man. But they'll never will.
Here's the deal, man. It's either radar spoofing or it's real. It can be radar spoofing. If you believe this radar spoofing's real with Tic Tac, certainly they can make a triangle appear way up in the sky. Project Blue Book, or was it Blue Beam they used to call it? Now this thing, Nemesis, Palladium, it could be fake. It could be fake, man. But
it's as fake as that video that Tom DeLonge showed to Joe Rogan.
Oh yeah, that Tom DeLonge video was that video was from 2004. That we had a big discussion on the Living Moon about how fake that was that long ago, and they keep recycling it like every 5 years. And DeLonge believed it. Good God, how could you believe that video is so fake? The TR-3B is always 20% as thick as the length of it. So if you have one that's 1,000 feet, or well, let's just say 100 feet long, it's going to be 20 feet thick, from top to bottom. So it's 4 stories, crew members, a minimum of 12. Some of the pictures Michael Schratt has of people seeing it, there's people looking out of the back of it, and they have Air Force uniforms on. They have Air Force, like the coverall uniform that you would just pull, the jumper that you would just pull down over yourself. That one picture has incredible that he has a drawing of it. I have it because Joe Rogan believes something that it's got to be true. I don't understand that. He's a fucking pothead. Nothing wrong with pot, but he's an acid taker and all that stuff. His brain's half fried. I can convince him of anything.
I don't know about convince him of anything, but
Well, he believes
the
Bob Lazar
Lazar
was a doctor and
dude,
a
Bob Lazar is
scientist.
convincing, bro. We wouldn't have wasted the decades on that case if it wasn't, right?
He actually said on his show a month ago that he thinks Bob Lazar did go to school, but some kind of story about that they had to pull his degree because of what he was exposed to. Bullshit.
So how about when they got that pilot right? So Gabe Zeifman flew over S4 and on
Double
like
click on that
Christmas.
picture and show them the little tiny hill where there's supposed to be 9 hangars in there, 40 feet wide each, even though the craft is 52 feet in diameter and wouldn't fit in a 40-foot wide hangar now, would it? There's nothing there. There's over 1,200 feet from the floor of the dry lake bed to the front of that little hill.
I got to put on the stuff
drawings
about
all
this.
show the lake bed going right to the hill, and they used to pull the flying saucers out and they'd take off from the dry lake bed. I can show you his drawings. There they are.
Is there? I put them up
Yeah,
on
look,
the
the big
S4
cement.
page.
Look at all the big cement area there that he claimed that used to be there, and the gates and all that. And I've talked to Gene Huff about this stuff.
We got to get Gene Huff on, man.
Gene Huff's a really cool guy. I'm very privileged to be able to speak with him, and you've been able to speak with him too. He's really freaking cool. He's going to do the show one day. I really like Gene Huff. I mean that. He's awesome. Out of all the people involved in that story, John Lear, Gene Huff, and Lazar, Gene Huff is absolutely my favorite guy. He's really freaking smart too.
Yep, this is right where he said S4 was on Papoose Lake.
That's right.
We got the video. We got the. I mean, we
That's
got
Gabe Zeifman's actual flight. He flew right over Papoose Lake. He flew right over it 2 times.
Yeah, if there was
And
a
guess
secret
what?
base
On a
there,
holiday, anyone can fly over Papoose Lake if they just ask Edwards or the flight
I wasted
tower.
years.
Hey,
Like
because only half of Papoose Lake is a completely restricted area, which is R4808-N.
people think that we're the disinformation agents and we're trying to like cover up the truth, bro. It's like the reality is that don't listen to Jeremy friggin' Corbell. The guy's an idiot.
Victor just said he could come on for a little bit. Please, okay.
He's the one that
check your chat.
Joe
Check your
Rogan.
check
I'm looking. He hasn't joined backstage yet. He's not here. But thing with Lazar, man, he's told so like they keep repeating the same thing. Like he's never changed his story, and he predicted all this stuff, and it's all bullshit. It's all lies, dude. They wouldn't stand a chance against someone who's really researched the whole case and knows
I'll
this
debate
stuff
them.
inside
I'll
out.
debate any of them.
They won't. They won't. They'll never will, dude. They won't even mention our names. That's how bad it's gotten.
There, Jeremy, he says he does not have the link, brother. I'm telling you. I don't know who you forwarded it to.
Victor, all right, in his thing, dude, right here, man.
Claims that he does not have it. Hold on, man. I'm sending it to him.
Tell him to check his messenger. I sent him a message right here.
He says he don't have it. Here it's coming. Maybe your shadow man to message him. I'll ask Victor about that thing too with that company that he.
You have the link right there, so share it.
He's got it now, believe me. Yeah, well, anyways, Bob Lazar, you got to understand. I want to explain something very quickly. Jeremy, don't pull that up. Take that down real quick.
Oh,
I want to explain something. The drawing to the very left, right there that you're looking at, right? That was before Bob Lazar's best buddy, John Farhat, got the satellite image of Papoose Lake from the Russians after the fall of the Soviet Union. The picture in the middle is how Bob changed the drawing. Look how drastically he changed it from when after John Farhat got the actual satellite.
Yeah, so he changed his story completely.
That's one of the big changes there.
You got the big cliffs and mountains right here behind it.
He had that tiny hill because he knew that he had to go down to that lake bed and find something that came close to the lake bed that met his drawing. Well, that hill does not match the mountainous terrain that he showed. And that little tiny hill right there is S4. Right,
that's like more like this. But this is where he said it was right on Papoose. But this is like more.
Yeah, when I showed that to Gene Huff, he was quite shocked and he couldn't believe that I had pictures of Papoose Lake like that. And I'm like, dude, here's the video of the guy literally flying over it. I said, everybody's seen these. Well, not everybody. When you
the thing that's weird is that these clowns, George Knapp and Jeremy Corbell, who everyone trusts, they
will never
interviewed
show
this guy.
anybody.
They interviewed that guy and then they pulled the interview down. And they
Yeah,
took
they
it
took
down.
that. Yeah,
And
because he
it just
said there's
disappeared.
nothing at Pappas. When he flew over, he said there's nothing there. There is a little radar spoofing building that TD Barnes is going to come on.
So it's crazy. It just shows that they're frauds and liars who are promoting a
Now
false
Victor
story.
claims he's on here. Jeremy, check.
Oh yeah, I just heard him enter. There he is, man. Hey, welcome, Victor.
Hey guys.
What's up, buddy?
I'm just going over all this false information that's being still put out in the mainstream media and hasn't been rectified, or like Joe Rogan's put this out to his audience of millions of people, and it's been over a year and he has not seen this website. I've blown up his Twitter. Like, there's no way. I don't know how he has not gotten a hold of this information. He must do zero research.
He doesn't.
And zero fan
doctor, for Christ's sake.
He must not even engage with his anyone outside of a small circle of people who feed him information that he's allowed to talk about or something, because
I've been told he's being wrong, so that explains it. He doesn't want to admit he's wrong.
Oh, that's what it is. So it's
Hey Victor, do you want to talk about the radar tracks in San Clemente Island, or aren't you up to that today?
I can talk about that. Can you hear me, by the way?
Yeah, this guy here, Victor, is a friend of ours. He's done more research and talked on and off with Lou Elizondo and Lou Elizondo's fake account than anybody I know of, and he's nailed this whole thing as far as I'm concerned. Go ahead, Victor.
Well, if you ever watch the Nimitz encounters that Dave Beatty put out, you'll see Kevin Day talk about the fleets, the weird radar tracks in his fleets.
Yeah, Jeremy, show the picture that I sent you of the radar tracks.
Is this Dave Beatty? The NimitzEncounters.com. Okay, I'm gonna
just show the radar tracks picture. That comes from the video Victor had me look at. Show it. I'll resend it to you again. Hang on.
No, I have it. I just got to bring it up. So this is Dave Beatty, NimitzEncounters.com. This is Dave Beatty's website right here. So,
yeah, who cares about that?
Well, he just mentioned it. What do you? I'm listening to what Victor is saying. I'm listening.
My bad. I didn't know that.
So I'm posting that up right now. So this is the photo that Dan sent me.
And then that C2W station.
We'll get on Bob Lazar another day, man. Bob Lazar is a total fraud.
No, he's boring. Who cares about him?
Boring. No one cares. It should be dead.
Everyone. So yeah, Kevin Day talks about all these weird radar tracks, and they're all centered around, most of them around San Clemente Island. Now I'll send you a link. I'll send it. Hang on. Where do I put it? In the comments here, I guess. Private chat. There you go. Yeah, click on that link.
All right, private chat. Boom. All right, we're going to pop this up right over here.
I'll tell you what that is when it comes up.
This is excellent.
Yes, I've seen this before. So this is Satellites Pro. This is different than Google. Oh, this is way better than Google Earth, man.
That is the range electronic warfare simulator with threat radar simulators that has been there since 1991, and which they've conducted at least 100 electronic warfare exercises for the range that extends down towards San Diego every year. It's been there for
30 years this year.
Well, 91. Well, actually been there since the 80s, but I think the threat radar simulators got added to it in 91. Wow. And it's not the only electronic warfare site on San Clemente Island. There's two others. There's another one called Tombstone, and what's the other one? Maidstone? Oh, God. Hang on. Yep, Tombstone. And come on, Little Rock. Is it? Yeah, Little Rock and Tombstone, and the Ruse, the Range Electronic Warfare Simulator. So there's three electronic warfare sites on San Clemente Island that have been there since 1990. And
You
what they do
where the
with
other one?
the threats radar simulators is that they can project out false threats to radar, which they use for fleet training and readiness. Now, it's not just those sites. They've got mobile sites, and they can put these mobile sites anywhere. They can put them on radio-controlled boats, on planes, even commercial planes, balloons, whatever. So the whole range that extends from the SoCal range complex all the way down past San Diego and whatnot can act as this whole electronic warfare simulator, so that they can basically simulate any kind of threat in the air. You know, they can make it look like this whole fleets of jets, missiles, whatever. That's how it all goes, and it's been there for a very long time.
This looks like a phased array setup, and then a microwave dome. This is right on the coast too, so they can broadcast this right out over that bay.
There's a lot of sites there, and it's all run out of Score, which is, oh goodness, where's that? Basically, it's a site in San Diego, which is where they run all the exercises in the SoCal Range Complex. And have you ever noticed something? If you ever look up the SoCal Range Complex and you see the boundaries of it, everything that's happened, whether it's the Tic Tac, the radar signatures in the Tic Tac event, all the drones they've encountered in 2019, every single one of these things has happened in the SoCal Range Complex. So either that SoCal Range Complex is the new Bermuda Triangle, or shit's going down with the Navy.
Wow.
Yeah, that's it. It's basically all the electronic warfare stuff's run out of rock or whatever. It's placed in San Diego on the coast.
My question is there another range, similar range that's happening on the East Coast, off the coast?
Yeah, well, you got those warning areas on the East Coast as well, which is where the gimbal and all that sort of stuff happened. I think the gimbal thing happened near Florida, didn't it? I think it was further south where they did where gimbal was.
Right. I got to get all this stuff and figure this out, because it's quite possible that they have several of these facilities all along the coast.
I can see someone saying radar spoofing balloons. It's not just balloons. It's actually highly advanced equipment they've got that will intercept the radar signal and send it back, so that the radar that sent out the signal interprets what it's getting back as something that's flying in the air or anywhere.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's
a little bit more advanced than that.
Yeah. Yep.
Anyway, that doesn't explain what the Tic Tac was. I'm just talking about what the radar tracks were. In terms of what the Tic Tac was, I mean, who knows what that was? All I know about the Tic Tac is that it happened where they claimed that the USS Louisville, or as you say in America, Louisville, was located conducting live fire tests.
This is interesting. Have you seen this Military Times article on Pentagon scientists are making talking plasma laser balls for use as non-lethal weapons?
Yeah, have you seen the was it the Burton? Something Burton.
But this is interesting. They have a lot of interesting technology. So they also, you talked about Project Palladium and Nemesis. I can't wait to ask TD Barnes about all this stuff, because they have this ability to, make the balloons look like they go from, and what is this graphic exactly with all this stuff out here? These
identified targets. Is this? I sent you another link in the private chat. That's that's plasma laser. How they can project plasma laser in midair and daylight.
Oh yeah, I've seen some stuff like this. Yep.
I think that's what Tom Mahood was probably talking about, something like that, because this technology has been around quite a long time.
Oh yeah, I've been talking about this for years. When I saw this at CES 5 in 2011 or 2014 or something. This was like years ago at the CES conference over in Japan. They showed this off. It was this company too. The same company.
Yeah. So who knows what they're doing with that? But also I know in regards to the actual Tic Tac itself is where Fravor was vectored to, where they saw the Tic Tac. The USS Louisville nuclear submarine was there conducting live fire tests. So who knows? I mean, you remember they talked about seeing something, the disturbance in the water. Yeah, it's fair bet it was the USS Louisville. But what the Tic Tac was itself.
This is very primitive versions of this. I mean, this is they could create larger ones of these if they had a more powerful laser and stuff. But the other thing too is you have to keep in mind that they have. So we have patents on them doing this to ships and airplanes. So they can basically shine this ionization on the wing of a plane. So it goes back to that Lightcraft and Leak Mirabu Project Skyvault stuff, right? I talked about all this Project Skyvault, and they did these experiments with Lightcraft and shining these lasers on the surfaces of these discs so that they could propel these things up in the air and through space. But they also did experiments with shining these things right on the surface of an airfoil or conducting surface, not a conducting surface, like a flow surface, and they can literally take control of planes and fly the planes. I have a whole patent on it. We showed it in another show.
You ever talked about Douglas Kurth and his role in the Tic Tac event? He doesn't get talked about much. Douglas
Kurth.
Yeah, he was the first person to see the disturbance in the water. He got there before Fravor and Alex Dietrich. He was in a single-seater F-18C, flew over the disturbance in the water, didn't see the Tic Tac. But here's a really weird thing. You're gonna love this. In 2007, Bob Bigelow hired Douglas Kurth to be part of BASS, and he became a project leader in ORSAP. So this is 2007. 2007, Bigelow's hiring this guy that was part of the Tic Tac event, at least a decade before everyone, the mainstream media reported it.
That's an interesting connection.
And the interesting thing there is that the very first Tic Tac leak happened on Above Top Secret, that forum, where a guy who claimed that he worked on the Nimitz reckoned he ripped off the Tic Tac video and the pilot report off the Nimitz computer, and he leaked it on Above Top Secret in 2007. So I think Bigelow got onto that guy, found out who. Oh, actually, I read who Bigelow found out about the Tic Tac event. He got told by Harry Reid, just a couple of months after it actually happened in 2005. That guy's connected.
You know what? I think it's aliens. Screw doing all this research stuff, man. It's just aliens, dude. And it's disclosure.
What are you guys gonna do when they actually show a bunch of footage of these things flying around and there is no radar spoofing off the areas where they show these things flying around? What are you gonna do then?
They have it mounted on.
I want another country.
So this is the thing too. You got to mix this with Star Wars now. Mix this with the SDI technology, right? SDI program. What if this thing's satellite based and they can do it anywhere across the world? They have all these lasers in space and all this stuff, right? Apparently.
Maybe. Well, that could be part of it.
There's all that disinformation saying that they blew up the World Trade Centers with them, and it's just not possible. But they could be doing easily making plasma balls. You know, if they built this thing to wipe out nuclear missiles and blast missiles out of the sky, incoming missiles, right? They could repurpose it, right? Or multi-purpose it. Come on, think about it. Think about it, guys.
You know, the funny thing is about the whole WhatsApp and ATIP thing. George Knapp, who's a name you know. George Knapp met Harry Reid back in 1989, 1990, and they became good friends back then. And Harry Reid is on record and says that it was George Knapp that got him looking into UFOs. And George Knapp introduced Harry Reid to Bigelow in the early 90s, and all three of them became friends and have been friends for 30 years. That ended up with them convincing Harry Reid to start, you know, do the, you know, the ORSAP thing, and then that turned into ATIP, involving the same people that Bigelow hired. You know, you got the same usual suspects in the background doing all the science works. You know, Pudoff and Eric Davis, some highly, you know.
Oh yeah. So
it's a story of the tail wagging the dog. Then you've got George Knapp after he's influenced all these people, and they've started ORSAP and ATIP, and then he comes out and says, "Hey, look, they started the secret program looking at UFOs. He's the one who influenced it from the beginning." It's crazy. That's what you call the tail wagging the dog.
The tail wagging the dog. That's it. Have you ever seen this photo before, Victor?
I think you just sent that one to me, wasn't it? Is that the Camp Pendleton? Oh, that one. Yeah, I have seen that one. That's what. That's.
This is 1993.
Somewhere, isn't there?
1993. Look at Linda Moulton Howe buddying up with Bigelow.
Mafia right there. The "you're not good enough to know what's going on" group, no matter what.
Who else is in there? That's Stephen Greer.
Yep, Stephen Greer's wearing a pink shirt.
Right next to Bigelow.
Oh, there's Bigelow.
Hal Pudoff's in that picture too, isn't he?
No, but his associate is.
There's a Rockefeller in that picture, if I remember correctly. Oh yeah, there it says it, Lawrence Rockefeller.
Lawrence Rockefeller.
Yeah.
Scott Jones, I think he's connected to Dr. C.B. Scott Jones is and Bruce Maccabee. Those guys are both connected with Pudoff and that whole side of that. But Bigelow's also heavily connected with Pudoff. He's probably the most connected with him because he. But yeah, those guys are. There's some satellite players like that at NIMS and NIDS and SDI and the Stanford Research Institute (SRI). But this is where it all began back in the 90s. This is where all the stuff that's happening today came from.
It's the usual suspects. You ever seen that movie, The Usual Suspects?
No,
it's all the same people.
It's all the same people. That's why the FBI has so many profilers that just profile to figure out like, oh, who could have done this, you know?
Actually, it's funny because I was just watching before I came on those old videos where Hal Pudoff is testing Uri Geller. Have you ever seen those? Very, very, very young.
I didn't know there's videos of it. I knew that happened. I've read books on it, but
really young. Pudoff's really young, and he's testing Uri Geller. And Uri Geller's doing his tricks, you know, the old find the ball in the can trick. You got 10 little cans, and they put a ball in one of them, and he's waving his hand. And Pudoff's there going, "Oh wow, this guy is super powerful." It's hilarious. Yeah, the one you had your cursor on. Yeah, that's it.
Is this it?
That's part of it. Yeah, it's longer than that. I think that's a snippet of it.
Into a can chosen at random from 10 aluminum cans, then puts the remainder of the numbered tops on also at random. The randomizer then leaves the area, and the experimenters enter the experimental.
I don't know if you'll see Pudoff in this bit, but it's about 40 minutes or an hour or something. It's quite long.
You can hear this?
Yeah. But you know how Puthoff is and Eric Davis are firm believers in Uri Geller. Where's the amazing Randy when you need him?
Well, Randy went after Uri Geller.
Yeah, I know. He passed away recently. Yeah, that's Uri Geller. But there's other clips where you can see Puthoff sitting next to Geller and they're talking, and I think they're flipping like he's doing the thing where he's guessing what people have drawn and things like that. And Puthoff sitting next to him. Well, that's Puthoff. That's Puthoff in the brown shirt, I think.
Right, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm still here. I'm talking to David Hilton. As you
I've seen all this stuff, and people can go check this out. This is all the, how Puthoff was involved with all that remote viewing stuff, but he also did some of that, some of that warp drive, and he worked and wrote some papers with Bernard Haish of Lockheed Martin and on all that inertia stuff. So he's been involved. He's been a physicist, but he's been kind of like on the fringe for decades, and the CIA's used him through SRI and this other, which is Stanford Research Institute.
Yeah, and Eric Davis wrote that paper about being able to move things, teleport things using your mind. It was a very interesting paper.
It explored the idea of, the Force, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think he said something like people might be able to use their mind to interface with one of the dimensions of space-time so that they can connect with an object and move it and teleport it from one place to another. Yeah.
Really? I didn't know Annie Jacobson and Yuri are besties today, someone said. That's V says that. What's up, V? How you doing? Welcome to the show. Welcome everyone. 373. All right, we almost got 400 people watching. Let's bust out some cool stuff. Victor, what else do we got? Let's get into something else I can look up.
So you want to show the drone base on San Clemente Island in reference to the 2019 drone swarming?
Yeah, send me a link.
It's not far from where I sent the other link. There it is. Got it. That wasn't hard. Whoa. Okay.
Private link. Hey,
here we go. Private link. Here it comes.
Boom. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Talk to me, brother. What are we looking at here?
That is a drone base on San Clemente Island that they built just before 2018. And you might know that all those talk about drones buzzing the ships in 2019, and everyone's wondering where they came from.
Well, this might be a good
point.
Can't
guarantee that. Yeah, I don't know if they came from there, but it's quite suspicious that all those drones were encountered by the fleet around San Clemente Island. Kind of the elephant in the room.
Yeah, right. This is and those pyramid-shaped craft, right? There's a Pyramid Cove right down here. This is called Pyramid Cove.
Yeah,
right
and
down
China
here.
Point. And there's China points on the far left. So that's Pyramid Head, but on the other side, that's China Point. It's quite funny, isn't it? Pyramid Cove, China Point.
Interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff around this island, man, and this is where I've been looking too, because this is where the location of where these things are taking place. So let's look up, where did the what was it? So Go Fast, Gimbal, and where's the one in Florida?
Yeah, Go Fast and Gimbal on the other side of the country.
So Go Fast and Gimbal were over. Go Fast was off of here, right? Off of Virginia Beach. And then Gimbal, which I gotta figure this out.
Go Fast and Gimbal were supposedly taken by the same jet. That's the last. I recently heard that someone say that. I can't remember who said it, but apparently the same the same jet video, right. Both the Go Fast and Gimbal.
So I'm looking it up right now for the Pentagon UFO videos, and this is all. I don't pay a lot of attention to the UFO stuff because I'm more interested in the technologies side of this. But this is actually giving me a new scope and new insight on some of the research I may have missed, because we start looking into what's located in physically, geographically, with military related to those areas, and I start doing research into those military sites, and that's I start getting more intelligence on this stuff. And obviously, if I'm doing this and I know how to do this, then people in the intelligence agencies of other countries know how to do this, and they've probably already done this. And so I don't feel, if they haven't done this, then they're not doing their jobs. And but I guess, I don't know. This is the first place I would look, and it is amazing what you come up with when you start really digging down these rabbit holes and what's going on in these facilities. And
I'll share one more thing with you. I've got a document which outlines all the exercises they did in the SoCal Range Complex, and in 2004 they did, I think it's 100 or 200 command and control warfare exercises, which mainly consists of electronic warfare. But if you look up command and control warfare, if you look that up on the old Wikipedia, it tells you that command and control warfare is electronic warfare and military deception and psyops.
Yep, that was one of the if you see that there's a diagram, and it was one of the pillars of this whole side of the war theater was psyops. And psychological operations are more effective if you implant this idea in people's head beforehand, right? So if you tell these people that they're going to see real UFOs and Bigfoot ghosts and weird alien and phenomenon shit that happens out at Skinwalker Ranch, right? And you tell them all these ancient stories about what the Indians said, you have these, Indian chiefs sit down and talk to them and tell them these creepy stories, right? Before they go in the place. And then you start using this kind of technology on them, right?
Yeah. So, in 2004, they did.
It's kind of like planting a seed. What's going on right now with the media, and they're planting this seed. Oh, this couldn't be a psyop. This couldn't be, this, have the mainstream media saying that, oh, there's no way this could be a psyop, and here's why it's not. And they don't talk about any of this stuff or cover any of this stuff. They just refer to people like us as debunkers, when we're not debunkers. We're just researchers. We just do better journalism and better digging than these people have time to do, because we've been doing this professionally for over 17 years, and we know, frankly, quite more than them. And I'm just like shocked and awed that, these people are like in here saying that, oh, Joe Rogan knows more than these two nitwits and these guys are buffoons. You must be trolls, because I could school any media person on what the heck is going on with this stuff. I'm sorry. Like this, they're not talking about this kind of stuff. And Victor, thank you for schooling us on some of this stuff, man, because we can't do this alone. We have to work together as a team. So keep going on. I mean to cut you off and keep blabbing. I'll shut up now.
Okay. No, I talked a lot. Yeah, I was just going to say, like, the document I've got says that they did a couple of hundred command and control warfare exercises in the SoCal range complex, which includes San Clemente Island and all the way down past San Diego. So that's the 2004 is obviously the year that the Tic Tac event happened. They did a couple of hundred command and control warfare exercises in that year, and that mainly command and control warfare consists of mainly electronic warfare. But if you go to Wikipedia, I'll read out what it defines command and control warfare as. It says command and control warfare encompasses all the military tactics that use communication technology. It was called signal warfare, and the following techniques are used within command and control warfare: operation security, military deception, psychological operations, PSYOPs, electronic warfare, psychological warfare, and cyber operations. And there was a couple of hundred of those exercises in that area in 2004.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So this is the next theater of war that's emerging, and they're trying to make people think it's aliens and stuff and threats from an outside, so they can get more funding. Meanwhile, I mean, this is just. I don't know how much more. Let's dig a little bit more into this, man. This is great. We need to find a way to like really break this all down and present this. This is so the electronic warfare, and then we mentioned the electronic warfare range. There was also this facility that I came across when I was just on Google Earth going over this place, and it was called what was that 4-letter acronym that we had found earlier, and it turned out to be IW. Was it? It was some kind of warfare testing facility. EWTF testing facility. Yeah, so EWTF it was called.
All right.
And we were like, what is the EWTF? And, you start searching for this, and BAE Systems is like the first contractor that comes up that talks about this and stuff, which is weird because, what's going on? Why did you mention BAE, Victor? I want to talk
Why
more
did I
about
mention
that.
what?
You found BAE because you're searching for this stuff, because you brought that up in another stream, right? Before.
Oh, BAE. That's a touchy subject for Dan.
yeah, because Dan's brought that up to me. He's like, because he was there. I don't know, but anyways, maybe we should.
BAE, one of the companies that make threat radar simulators, basically spoofing things. They're not the only one. Lockheed Martin makes them as well, and Lockheed Martin has made threat radar simulators for the Navy since 1986. The funny thing there is that Lockheed Martin also make the what is it called, the AN Spy 1B radar that they had on the Princeton. So they're making the radar system and the systems that spoof the same radars, which I found funny because someone told me that how would Lockheed Martin be able to? How would they be able to have threat radar simulators that can spoof these radars? And that's when I found out it was the same company that made both.
What if they have all these things operational on all the battleships and destroyers that they put out? Because we have no idea what kind of capabilities and what thing classified tech they have on these things. But all the people in the Navy say like it's super advanced. So you have no idea. And what if this is what they have? They have all this stuff on there, and it'd be crazy. Yeah. Rail guns and projectors and who knows?
Lasers. Some of
Yeah.
yeah,
I was thinking they could have specialized balloons that they could shoot the lasers on and fly the balloons around by laser technology.
You know what I found funny about those drone stories? They keep saying, "Oh, there's nothing on those ships. They can shoot down a drone." And meanwhile, I'm looking at videos where they've got those Gatling guns and those destroyers, that shoot like a billion bullets a second. I'm thinking, yeah, that would do a good job on a drone. I mean, the amount of bullshit you
or
hear.
A balloon. Yeah.
Jesus.
So,
or they couldn't see the drones because it was dark outside. What do Navy ships have on them that they use in all the wars that can spot a plane high up? They got those big didn't mean to swear, but they got those big get out of here spotlights that can illuminate a plane at 30,000 feet. Those big spotlights they use in war and have on the ships. And they're saying, they see the drones at night. Maybe they use one of those spotlights, eh?
Well, guess what? At NORAD, there's nothing that they claim that's in the sky that they can't identify. So there should be a bunch of data on these Tic Tacs at NORAD.
Right. If these Tic Tacs are Tic Tacs, right, and this is real Tic Tac technology, then I don't know. That's like the other option, but we have Jack Sarfati saying that these things are nothing gets in, nothing gets out. But that you could also achieve the same thing with a hologram. It would be almost like what happened in the Battle of Los Angeles. There might have been some projection of a hologram that someone did. It could have just been like someone testing it out. I don't know. Like, how do you do hologram?
Yeah, but dude, I listen to Sarfati.
What is that?
What would run it if nothing could get in and out of it? How would you service it? How is it made?
Well, that's the thing, is when the force shield gets put up, and then you basically you could electronically shut this shield down so that it lowers its guard.
Flying those things. What if the human beings inside there flying them?
No, they'd probably be. I don't know. I don't think they would be. There was that guy that claimed that he flew in one of these, and that.
Yeah, and then he turned out to be. Remember, we watched him say he lied and made it all up.
He jumped on the stream the other night, and it was on the after party, and I'm gonna get a hold of him. Me and you are gonna talk to him. So
why did he lie though?
Mike
I read
Kerber.
him tell everybody he was sorry. The creep. I hate it when people lie about this kind of stuff.
I know. Like,
I honestly want it to be aliens. I don't want it to be radar spoofing. If it's radar spoofing, I'm going to be pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
I want a bunch of ETs to get out of that sky.
I know. I want the Arcturians to get out and say, "Listen, Billy Meyer was telling the truth. Like, he was our prophet, and you guys didn't listen."
You mean the Pleiadians?
Oh yeah. Sorry.
$10 in about 15 years. Billy Myers will be the next Bob Lazar, and they'll wheel him back up, and there'll be another Corbell, and Billy Myers will be the new thing, and he's totally legit. He'll be on Rogan. Rogan will be a bit older, but
I doubt it. I think that the more people study Lazar, the people that really believe him, it's amazing how you just got to show
Rogan. Sorry. Rogan's having Jack Valet and Elizondo. Did he have Elizondo on yet? I don't know if Rogan had Elizondo on, but he's had Elizondo said like he doesn't believe Lazar.
No, he said he takes security far more serious than that. He does not believe. He knows Lazar's full of crap.
Mellon said that he doesn't believe Lazar. He doesn't support it.
Mellon, all those guys. And guess what? Hal Puthoff knows he's full of crap too, because Hal Puthoff was Ed Fouché's friend. And I've actually spoken to him already. They know Bob Lazar's a fraud. That story that Bigelow's told about Bob having furniture in the place and kicking him out's not the story I heard.
I know
they had Derek Davis, and they had it was Eric Davis, another scientist, and Hal Puthoff went to check on him. Remember, they all worked for NIDS, which was the National Discovery of something of Sciences or something. Went in there and started talking to Bob Lazar when he was working for Bigelow, and they said he did not have anything close to a college education in science. He had a high school education, but, hey, he's able to fool people, so more power to him.
he's like the perfect actor you would cast to play the physicist. You know what I mean? Because
He is
he
perfect.
looks the part.
Look at what he's done. He's convinced millions that the story's real. But when you show people actual evidence, you go to Papoose Lake and show that there's nothing there.
Oh, the element 115 stuff. How about that other new guy that's come out and said the element 115 is real, and that I'm a liar, and that you're a liar, and we're all making it
It's
up.
all propaganda, he said. Yeah. I'm in his comments on his video. I challenged him. He hasn't responded yet because I said,
let's post that up so we'll go and post on his video right now. And
post his video, and people that don't believe Lazar, get on there and say he's a fraud, please do it.
Hold up, let me go on there and find
because
it.
we're outnumbered 1,000 to 1 when it comes to Bob Lazar. I think that's about how bad it is. Don't you think, Victor? Somewhere around 500 to 1,000 to 1 believe him. Yeah,
Here's
this guy
the video.
put his video up yesterday.
People don't believe him now. I think a lot of people have turned. But
yeah, on the Reddit they sure have, haven't they?
Yeah, people go check out this video, and his name's Cywork, and he complain like he's some kind of.
He looks like Elizondo. He looks a spitting image. Was that Elizondo?
No,
he does it all. He's an expert. He's an expert in zoology, paleontology, everything.
Yeah, he's got an Element 115 hat on. He bought off Bob.
That's
awesome. Could be
awesome.
Elizondo's twin brother.
Looks like a fat version of Billy Joel.
These guys are gonna come out and kick him out. Like, where you can't film here, buddy.
Victor, did you see Elizondo on that show called it's a Josh Gates show. It's on Wednesday nights. It's called Expedition Unknown. And Elizondo scuba dived down in off the coast of San Clemente Island, and there was a UFO come out of the water and all this crap. It shows on the Discovery Channel. I'm sure that they probably faked half the stuff that was on there, but they said they confirmed there was an alien base underwater and all this stuff. In the comments on Facebook, people were all pissed off about the show because
his stories that just started off like, I can't confirm anything. Now it's sort of like demons and goblins, and he's just gone full banana. Yeah,
I know, bro.
Has Elizondo?
He was on. There was a UFO special today on Australian TV on Channel 7. Went for about an hour and a bit, hour and a quarter or something, and had a few of snippets of the top UFO stories. They had the Navy stuff. They had Westall 66 was on it, and the witnesses for Westall 66 came on, and I couldn't believe it, but they started spinning some unbelievable bullshit. But Dan, that I grew up less than a mile from where the Westall 66 event happened.
I know you sent me all that stuff about how fake it was.
Yeah, but these guys started saying the same stories that told in different documentaries, but then they started saying even more ridiculous stuff that contradicts what they've said before. And you had one of the key witnesses, Greenwood, who was one of the teachers. He was on, and he was saying things like, the U.S. president sent a team to interview me, and he was talking about that UFO researcher McDonald. Remember that old-time researcher McDonald?
Yeah.
And I know that guy, in his own words, said that he came to Australia and looked in the Westall 66 on his own dime as his own personal hobby. He had nothing to do with the president of America. So this guy Greenwood's on there just spewing all sorts of nonsense.
Well, it's like the Jackie Gleason story. It came out of nowhere. Okay, Jackie Gleason was supposedly showed aliens by President Nixon, but what's really weird about it is President Nixon just took off from the White House, none of the Secret Service came with the anything, and no one really knows where that story originated. And what's really crazy about the whole thing is my ex-wife's a Gleason, and she's related to Jackie Gleason. We used to go to family reunions. There'd be a bunch of Gleasons there, and it just used to freak me out because I always wanted to walk over and ask them about the UFO story, but I never had guts enough to do it, But
well, that's what disillusioned me. That's what disillusioned me quite a bit, is when I looked into the Westall 66 story, because it was a hometown story, and I wanted to believe it. But when I started interviewing some of the witnesses, or not interviewing, just talking to them on Facebook through Messenger and all that sort of stuff, the story just fell apart like paper. It was so unbelievable.
Jeremy,
All the key stuff you see in that Westall 66 documentary that's on Amazon Prime or Prime Video.
Yeah.
All the key things in that video are absolute garbage. The stuff about the guy seeing a UFO on the ground and going to touch it. I spoke to a witness that knew him. I spoke to a confirmed witness that actually knew that guy, and he was telling me all sorts about him. Basically, it's just full of shit. No one corroborates his story. The documentary maker, I asked the documentary maker, I said, that guy said there was a whole bunch of students around him. Have you found them? No. So I said, why'd you put him in the documentary if you can't corroborate his story? And then I got then I found another witness, and I spoke to this witness, and he's like, do you know that guy? He goes, yeah, I do know that guy. He's a plaster around the corner. He goes to the pub all the time. He's full of shit.
Oh, yeah. A lot of these stories.
You have that bit about Tanya. I don't know if you ever watched the documentary, but there's a bit about Tanya and fainting and an ambulance taken away, and she disappears. And then the documentary maker found Tanya and said, oh, yeah, she couldn't corroborate what the other witnesses said happened. And I said, why'd you put that in the documentary? God.
Wow.
Just unbelievable.
Yeah, so another thing we're going to ask. So let's come up with a list. So we're talking about interviewing Elizondo. We're going to get Elizondo on Twitter. And I'm going to. I already hit him up.
Victor and him have gone at it a little bit.
So we know this story inside and out. Like, I have so many questions for Elizondo, and people are like, some of the responses on Twitter were like, oh, what are you going to ask Elizondo that other people haven't? And I think I got plenty of questions, and how I would ask the questions, how I would phrase the questions, ask
him this question, Jeremy. Ask him if the Twitter user who goes by the name Faceless Bureaucrat, ask him if that's one of his alt accounts, because he's been that a user has been accused as being has been accused on Twitter lately as being one of the alt accounts of Elizondo, because he's always on there defending Elizondo, and sometimes he responds when someone asks Elizondo, like Elizondo forgot to switch back his alt account. Yes. Very interesting.
Faceless Bureaucrat. There's two of them on here.
Yeah, Faceless Bureaucrat is Faceless Bureau, BUREAU1. That's his Twitter handle. Faceless Bureau 1.
At Faceless B. Oh, there it is.
So I'm not saying that guy is an alt account of Elizondo. I'm just saying there were people I saw on Twitter that were accusing that guy as being an alt account, and they were highlighting all these different examples of.
Oh, look! There's a bunch of these things though. They could be bots that use him though, too.
Yeah, who knows? But he's on there, sort of defending. If you look at his Twitter account and all the replies he's made, it's just full of defending Elizondo.
Well,
there were some strange things, like people would ask Elizondo a question in this account, sort of looked like accidentally replied once, and I don't know.
I think it would be.
It's just you can put that down as hearsay.
Close this.
No one can really know. I'd be interested though, if you do actually interview Elizondo one day, ask him.
Yeah, that would be a good one to add to the list of things I need to ask him. I want to ask him about the Adams project, that material.
Ask him about his patents that he had in 2009 about the shipping cargo patent that he's got, where he lifts off the holes. I think everything, but I think the
Elizondo patent?
Yeah, didn't you know that? He's a bit of an entrepreneur. He's been written about, and there's articles about him, about his patents. I forget what it's, some cargo ship patent where it's sort of like the main part of the cargo ship stays put and the rest of the ship can be lifted off, sort of to quicken, instead of lifting every crate off, it's sort of, you can just offload. The way Elizondo himself put it, it's like a truck with the trailer. A truck will deliver a trailer load and just release the trailer. So it was something like that.
Yeah, I see it right here, man. I got it up here on the screen.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh, yeah. This is good stuff, man. Thank you so much, Victor.
But the funny thing is, he was delving into all these patents and coming up and doing all these patents. I think they started in 2009, some of them, or even earlier. So he's delving in all this, and that's when he was in ATIP. So, ATIP was so fascinating. All this alien stuff was so fascinating and enthralling that he was, coming up with some cargo ship ideas on the side like you do.
That's the same dude too. Wow, that's crazy. Hey, listen, we're gonna open it up. I'm just gonna post a StreamYard link live, and anyone who wants to join, welcome to join up and give their comments and input. This is crazy. So the new radar release by Jeremy Corbell. Again, we're on here talking about that now. And ways so that there's radar spoofing technology. There's tons of it. They can create radar jamming and deception. There's ways to fake all this stuff. All the stuff that they've put out. There's so many ways to fake it. There's so many ways to recreate it or produce it artificially with warfare technologies that nobody's talking. Mick West isn't even talking about this. He's talking about balloons and seagulls and stuff, man.
Yeah,
I think that's because he knows you can't talk about this kind of stuff or you won't get on mainstream channels. But the thing is, what's really crazy is that the mainstream channels, we're starting to get more viewers than these mainstream channels. They're trying to shut us down and trying to shut down the information and flow and stuff. But we're actually breaking through and getting more views than the mainstream channels, which is awesome for once. So when people go live on the mainstream, they're not even getting as many live viewers. They get more replays because they promote the heck out of it in other ways. It doesn't have the shadow ban, so they get more replays. But it just goes to show you that we've got, I don't know, we have to fight this. You have to smash the like button, you have to share the video, and you have to beat those algorithms. Into showing them that they're, and I have to figure out ways I can monetize certain videos and other ones I can't. So I gotta start monetizing certain things and also getting the membership thing set up through YouTube. So I'm going to be doing that this week. We got a couple people joining on that want to talk to us. From anyone from UFO Twitter. Hey man, how's it going?
Hey, how are you?
Good. Welcome. You have any questions or comments about any of the stuff we just been discussing?
Yeah, of course. First, let me just introduce you myself. I have a small channel which is called as Aviation Designs, and we are a company based in India who is developing similar to the line of TR3B. I think depending, it's not any anti-gravity or anything like that. But I was a part of the Indian Navy research program near the Indian Ocean a couple of years back, and what we we did an exercise with the U.S. Navy, which was called as Malabar exercise, which happens every year. And one of the destroyers in the Indian Navy picked up these multiple objects off the coast of Indian Ocean, and till today we don't know what the hell they were. They were moving extremely fast, and we never found out what they were. I mean, it was really weird. I mean, I have to say that.
So
Found
this happened. Give me some more specifics. I want to. Can I look this case up and find any information on this, or is this like?
No. So this is not this. The problem in the Indian Navy is they don't post these things unless until it is absolute necessity. So we had this. So one of the thing about this, just go to South Goa, of course, to Goa. So if you go to Goa, there is an Air Force base called as INS Hansa. Okay, so that's where this the naval fleet is, which is called the Black Panther Squadron. Uh, Basically, they operate MiG-29Ks from off the Indian aircraft carrier. And what they did is they were having an exercise back in 2016. This was way back, and they picked up like 6 to 7 objects in midnight, which were tracked on radar, but again, it has never seen the light of day in public. This thing, the way I know it is because one of my senior person, he's a real admiral in the Indian Navy, and we were just talking about the you know, classified aircrafts and what we are developing and what others are developing. And he picked up this story and he told me, this is what I hope you remember when you were on the ship. We you know, we track these unknown objects. So nobody knows what these are actually. They could be anything, you know, from, you know, if they try to verify it, because if it is a passenger aircraft, they have transponders. The radars can find out whether these are passenger aircrafts or they are military aircrafts. These were nothing. It was just a blip in the radar saying bearing, altitude, and range. That's it.
That's it.
So that was, but in India, these reports don't come out because nobody gives a damn about it. So that's, I just wanted to share this part.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, we were looking into the tactical high altitude aircraft penetrating program of Northrop Grumman back in the 1988, I believe. Well, that is a very similar aircraft. If you look at TR-3B Teledon Drine, I think that is what the company was, I believe. But there was a lot of research done in the Indian aerospace establishment for the better part of 6-7 years. And they were planning to develop this stealth aircraft, so-called stealth aircraft. I'll just share. I don't know how to share that design with you guys, but is there a way I can share you the photo of that design?
Yeah, if you can post it in the private chat, or you can share your screen too. You're welcome to share your screen.
Sure, I'll just share the screen.
I'll let you do a screen share if you want, and I'll give you the floor, man. I'm just poking around here. I don't really know what I'm looking at because I haven't. I usually, those areas that I covered earlier were areas that I've already scoured and really, you know that landscape. But you're of course going to be more familiar with.
Yeah, I can guide you. All right, just go deep, go a little bit deeper. Just zoom in a little bit more. If you can just type INS Hansa, you'll find out on the screen here where you have typed military base, INS Hansa, Goa. INS
Hansa.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Boom. There we go. It's right on the.
So this is one.
There.
Yeah. So this is one of the few Stobart testing facilities in the world. There's one in US, that is the Pax River testing facility, and there's one in the South Asia, that is in India. There are only 2 of them. Now this facility, it's obviously the Google Earth image is very old, but it's completely ramped up by a lot of radar facilities and lot of fighter aircraft. So this base is combination between an airport, an actual running airport, and a military base.
Yeah. Yep.
So this is where these MiG-29s had picked up. These MiG-29s take off to go to the aircraft carrier called INS Vikramaditya. And this was back in 2016 or something. They had picked up these unknown objects. We don't know what they were actually, but we never kind of gave a thing about it. We said, okay, yeah, whatever it is. But what do you think it is? I mean, like, when I was looking at this Jeremy Corbell's radar image, uh, there are a lot of things in radars that pick up in the air. There are a lot of things that happen nowadays. The aircrafts, especially, let's say a sensor tag. These F-18 Hornets, they have sensor tags, which gives you a false radar reflectors to jam their own to test their own radars. So I think you must be aware of it. If I'm wrong, you please correct me. I'll just share my screen to you to show you the design, which the current company is working on. So it's declassified information, so I can show it.
I think the Corbell stuff with
so Dave, we got another guy. Dave's not here, man, and he said he used to work on a lot of systems used on those Navy ships for identifying targets. So welcome to the discussion panel, Dave, and also Zebs. He said he got a comment that he wants to make on Bigelow. He says he's a retired NASA person, nothing classified, who's met Bigelow a few times, and in his opinion, Bigelow leverages his fringeness to cover unacknowledged access programs under a cloud of disinformation. We've talked about that before too. So I'm interested to hear what Zebs has to say about Bigelow. And why don't we get Zebs to kick in first, and then we'll get back to this radar stuff.
Okay. Hello.
Yeah, Zebs. You're upside down too, by the way.
Oh yeah, my camera is weird.
So Zebs is on the moon.
Yes, I am. No, it's an old laptop and whatever. Yeah. So Robert Bigelow. I think he's a very decent fellow. I got no problem with him. I'm sure you're quite aware that he made his fortune with a hotel chain, and he's unapologetically eccentric. He's interested in weird things, ghost hunting, the whole Skinwalker Ranch thing, and that's fine. I've got no problem with that. He's got disposable income. There's rich people that go out and buy $1 million yachts, but Robert Bigelow is like, well, I want to go look for transdimensional Sasquatch in Utah. All right, fair enough.
Cool. Fair enough.
The thing where that kind of works as like a force multiplier for his more tech and aerospace businesses is that it looks kooky, right?
Yep.
And no doubt some of the stuff that he does is kooky. But also,
I feel like it's a good cover story for that they can have this veil of disinformation, so that he can, because he had gotten a lot of these contracts and gotten a lot of these government contracts and was doing a lot of this stuff, and I feel like he used that veil of secrecy and that veil of disinformation to get and maintain a lot of these, contracts.
Yeah, I mean he's a smart guy. He picked up on in the early 2000s. NASA had a inflatable module in development that was going to go on the International Space Station. Funding ran out, or politics, a new president came along, the usual sort of thing. Yep. And so that kind of got put on the shelf. And because NASA was developing it, they were interested in, businesses to run with it, since they weren't going to push it anymore. So, well, what's one thing that Bigelow Aerospace has been looking into for their space hotels? Inflatable, things rather than having like a cylinder made out of aluminum. They wanted to blow up a balloon and have that for your space station. And it's really like, I mean, there's one behind him in that photo right there, right?
Yeah, that's why I
That's
brought
not
it up.
ET tech. That's nothing classified. I'm just saying that yeah.
He did it to get these contracts, so he jumped on these bandwagons in places where he thought he could get contracts. So he's a smart guy, but he's also into that UFO scene, a little eccentric. So he was, he obviously had funded Linda Moulton Howe throughout the 90s for her cattle mutilation research and all that stuff. Paid her bills and paid her rent for years and built her up to what she is today. And so he's done a lot of like things in this field, but it feels like he's done that for also to, he obviously knew about that UFO stuff, right? And leveraged it with what he was doing with Bigelow Aerospace to have like, obviously this cover of very benign, normal, unclassified stuff to show the public and do. But
that's legitimate stuff that he's doing. Does he also have a little bit of fun on the side?
Yeah,
I think so. Because you know what? Sometimes blue sky research or doing a little bit of trolling can open new pathways. You never know. There might be somebody that comes out of the woodwork and says, "Hey, Robert, I actually saw the flying saucers. I saw the Ilamaus."
When he got all the UFO data from MUFON, he got all the Air Force Project Blue Book data, and then he got to deal with the Air Force to get all the Air Force's UFO reports instead of going to an office where it used to go, like a Project Blue Book type agency. He got it all to go to Bigelow Aerospace and had the contracts so that all the UFO reporting was just going to Bigelow Aerospace and through Bigelow Aerospace. Yeah. Now, what's gone on with that? Because Bigelow Aerospace apparently went belly up in March of 2020, and what happened to Bigelow Aerospace and that UFO reporting contract, and who tracks these things now for the Air Force? I don't know, man. That's just
I don't know.
Is that true? Bigelow Aerospace went bankrupt, didn't it?
He laid off all his employees in March of 2020 with the coronavirus and stuff. There's a whole article on it.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know about that. Well, anyway, that's all I had to say. Thanks for entertaining me. I really appreciate what you guys do.
Awesome, man. Thanks for joining us, and we'd like to open it up because this is the best. Is little bits and pieces of intel that we get from folks like you. Like, hey, listen, because everyone knows somebody, and everyone's talked to somebody at some point, and that's the key thing. Is we all get those opportunities.
Lee once, man. Oh.
We get those opportunities, man. You have to take them. You have to go for them, and then get that information out, man. So everyone is part of this community, and everyone out there is an intelligence asset, as far as I'm concerned.
I've known people who've worked with Dr. Ningley, but never met her myself. As for what the heck happened to her or what she was working on, I have no idea.
So here's the article to back up that claim about Bigelow Aerospace, so people can read more on that. Bigelow Aerospace lays off entire workforce. This was on Space News by Jeff Froust, March 23rd, 2020. So go check that out. And thank you for joining us, Zeb. And I want to get some more people on here.
Right on, go for it.
So Dave, we got Dave on here, and we got Aviation Designs MG on here blowing up the info on. Let me just mute you guys out for a second. There we go. It was Dave. Dave's the noisy one, and Aviation Design. So we also got DIJ. I'm adding you to the stream now too. So let's you guys can go ahead and unmute yourselves when you want to talk, and let's try to keep one at a time, and so we can keep the noise levels clear and down, so we don't have just noise in the background noise for people. So jump on and unmute your mic when you want to talk, and who wants to go? I'll let Dave go first, I guess, because he's new here. Okay, so you got to unmute now.
Okay. There we go.
There we go.
What's up, guys? So yeah, I saw some news stories came out earlier today on YouTube, talking about these contacts. And you guys had pulled up that picture earlier where there was like 6 or so contacts. They were all like on the same heading, going like 180, something like that. But that didn't look like a regular, like a repeater. So like some of the videos we're seeing of this Tic Tac are super grainy infrared. That's a regular sensor on most surface ships. It's just called the optical sight. It's just a super old infrared camera. It's basically used for pop-up surface targets. So like generally what happens out there on the ship is you'll have your surface search radar. Like that's a regular repeater screen there.
Yeah.
And that's probably from the TAO's seat. So he gets like a better composite display than like a regular sensor operator does, because he has to have a bit of a better picture. So the story says like, we had these contacts on multiple sensors. And so I thought that was interesting because they didn't really ever show like a AN SPS 67 return or the SPY 1 console, which I guess for security purposes, whatever. But they do show the optical sight, and then they showed a screen of what looked like, we were talking about this earlier, the command and control stuff, right? So even surface units on the ocean use a software called GCCS-M. That's Global Command and Control Software Maritime. And that gives you like a global or theater picture of any contacts in your area. The only problem with that is they're all input manually. So somebody could just throw in a bunch of hostile targets at any altitude, give them any designation, any heading, any speed. So, I just wanted to clarify that, even though we're seeing supposedly, pictures of a radar return, sometimes that's not exactly what they're showing in that video. So, this is legit right here, but, I don't know what sensor that's coming from. So, no doubt they probably had tracked it with SPY and they had tracked it with surface radar, but it's not necessarily true that what they're showing you on the screens for the radar return is actually what they saw with the offsite, or, there could be like some disconnect there. So,
and then again, it could be all kinds of spoofing technology and these ECCMs and electronic countermeasures that they're running to, there's no, there's no, I'm not convinced. There's nothing that they keep like stringing us along with this crap, man. And I'm just like, where's the beef? Where's the meat and potatoes, man? This is all like, we're hungry. Yeah. We've been researching this for 17 years. This is not new to us, and I'm glad it's new to a lot of people, and I'm glad a lot of new people are getting into this. But man, this is this rabbit hole goes a lot deeper than Jeremy Corbell and all his friends in the mainstream media are saying that it goes.
Yeah, exactly.
And until they interview me, and until I get on these channels to like start getting this message out there, I'm going to be convinced that everything going on is a psyop right now, because it's like, right. I just assume that when the media says stuff now, I just assume the opposite's true, and I start my research from there, right? That's like it's a good point to start from. Think about it. Like think about you just think like, this guy's a liar. I know he's a liar. I just don't trust him. He's a former ex karate kid from that they hired, and he grew a beard to pretend like he's a hipster, so he could that hipster motif of like, hey man, you wouldn't understand, you don't listen to the same, you wouldn't even heard of the bands that I listen to, and I'm so much smarter than you on all this stuff, and he plays that whole role, but he doesn't know anything about this subject. He's brand new to it. He dabbled in art. He took pictures of Sharon Tate and sprinkled blood on him and sold him his art in an art gallery in California before he got into UFO films and stuff. So this guy's not like, his heart and soul is not in this topic. It's not in the research, and he really pretends to like know all this stuff. And there's a reason they've chosen him to leak all this data and all this information and get, you know, massive fanfare and massive views, and they promote the hell out of him. They want Jeremy Corbell to take over my spot. They're trying hard to get him above, you know, 100,000 subscribers so that they can, you know, beat me and replace me on this scene with the Jeremy Corbell thing. But man, I'm going to be a violent opponent to this guy because he's a fraud and he's not who he says he is. And there's a reason that the Pentagon is, you know, the Pentagon's leaking this stuff to George Knapp, who then are leaking these videos to Jeremy Corbell, who then leaks this stuff out. And it's just like that. It's almost like Knapp is like one of the power players in this, and he's using Corbell as a cutout because he's this egotistical noob who's just will do anything for fame and glory and thinks
he's gonna run with the story for sure.
He's just gonna take this information and run with it as far as the views and the publicity will get him, and they get him hooked up with all these mainstream interviews to just launch this stuff, but no analysis is given, no context is given. They don't talk to people like you who've worked on these systems and know what these systems are. It's just this. It's like noob level crap, man.
Yeah.
So go on. Let me hear where can we research more and learn about this. This screen is called look up
GCCS-M. It's Global Command and Control Software Maritime. So that's the software that like all the military uses it. So they have it for land, they have it for maritime, they have it for air, and it gives you a good image. So like one of the watches I used to stand all the time was inputting targets into this system, surface targets, just to keep a clear maritime picture to like farther range, lower the area of uncertainty for contact. But just it reminded me of that screen when I saw those like 6 or 7 supposed UFO air contacts, because I was like, well, you could just input those if you wanted to into the system and then take a picture of it and be like, oh, look, I got 8 unknown contacts all going the same heading, about the same speed, about the same altitude. You know, it's not just like super definitive. You know, it's not conclusive.
All right, stop hating on Jeremy Corbell. It's time we unite. Listen, dude, I already sent out the message to Jeremy Corbell several times, and he's ignored me and continued to like begrudge me. So there's no truce here. He is disinformation, and we're about getting the truth out. And he's a pawn in a much bigger game, whether he realizes it or not. And he can hide behind a rock and block me and pretend I don't exist as long as he wants. But in reality, bro, it's like I'm not gonna believe in all this fake unity crap, because there's disinformation agents and there's people out here that do not mean well. And I'm not gonna team up and claim unity with people who are liars and spread disinformation until they can confront me and let me ask them questions to like really dig into this, because
right.
They won't. If they block me and they just continue to get mainstream viewership, well, I get shadow banned and nobody talks about the things that I'm talking about, and everyone is pushing this alien threat narrative and this nonsense about, oh, UFOs are real now and it's aliens, and this is like the PSYOP. I'm going to talk to people about PSYOPs and what I know about from my research and what I'm learning from the people that I talk to, because I talk to people who are really informed, and I think it's important that we live in a world where everyone's informed. Technology is advancing at an incredible pace. It's exponential. We're on that curve right now, like approaching that singularity, and it's just going to launch. That technology, that exponential technology curve is going to hit critical mass. It's going to hit that, that once it hits that slope of 1, then it just takes off from there, and we're not even there yet, and people are so far behind on the technology curve. Just wait till the singularity happens, and we have like AI systems and quantum computers and all this other crazy stuff. It's going to happen in the next 20 years. It's going to happen in your lifetime, if unless you're like 60 and above.
Yeah, it's good to know about all this stuff, man. I mean, I think it's all mostly, connected in some way, like just UAPs, UFOs, psyops, and then just infighting with, all the different branches in the DoD for budget and, black budget stuff, SAPs. That's all real. So you don't really have to look too much farther than that kind of money for motivation for, why people keep that shit secret,
I'm going to post a link to that video right here so people can have that.
Cool. And then the only other thing I had was while I was, enlisted and I had a clearance, I used to spend a lot of time reading, threat manuals and stuff, just bored. And the only thing I ever came across that was curious was it was like a target detection sort of SOP for like, I guess, like NORAD people, or it was a threat detection manual, and it was a way to disambiguate between like satellites, normal foreign bodies, and like UFOs was like a category in the threat manual. So like there was some sort of delineation, like they were tracking these targets and they had to fall into categories, and there was like a if then sort of statement, like, does the object change direction erratically? If yes, then it can't be a satellite, it can't be a like an asteroid or another foreign body. So I just thought that was interesting, and that's really all I have, man.
Hey, $5 off-topic super chat. Have you guys ever tested electromagnetic mercury vortex in a helium-rich environment? No, but there's a nice thought, and it's noted. So we will have facilities for doing some mercury experiments, and I guess we'll try it with a displaced vacuum gas of helium. So again, this is all like really, this is good because we can't. I did some basic stuff on, aerial reconnaissance, of just saying, all right, well, these are where these encounters are happening. Let's start digging into what's around there, and we start finding these facilities, and then we start researching this, and we come to all this stuff on electronic warfare. Victor found and Dan found, and they've gone now. Well, so thank you to them, and definitely we'll welcome them to come back on at some point. Solar Marshall, I don't know where you guys went, and Victor, thank you guys again for coming on. And I'm sorry for if I transitioned into this new stuff, because we get some interesting info sometimes coming on from other people who join the show. But it's interesting. We started doing the aerial reconnaissance around the areas where these encounters were happening, and that's where we came across the electronic warfare, facilities, and we started researching that kind of stuff, and came upon this stuff just through doing basic research. And this is the kind of stuff that we're finding. And I don't know why journalists aren't digging more into this, because that electronic warfare stuff goes deeper. If you start talking to, this is great. We get, intelligence from personnel who are familiar with some of this stuff and worked on it, because it's important that people know these capabilities exist and are aware of them. And obviously people in the military and people in intelligence know that these capabilities exist. If I can find this, it's obviously not that classified and not that well protected. It's just not well known about it because it's not popularized. It's nerd level stuff. And
we're on the right track, though. I mean,
I definitely think so, man.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
With all the people that are talking about this UFO stuff, Mick West, I watch Mick West. I talk to these people, when I start digging in like this, and I'm like, oh, this is a connection for sure. We're definitely getting closer to the real picture right here and getting on the right track, especially when we start digging into all these technologies. And we know that the stuff they have has got to be like more advanced than, what we can find, this little bit that we can get and look at, and it's all related again to that command and control war theater model,
Right.
and understanding that communications are essential to making any well-oiled machine work in an operational war theater, and that if disruption and confusion of that critical command is the new theater of war that will be essential for winning battles. That's the new battlefield of the future. They understand, like, if we can just fuck up their communications and totally screw with their ability to control their fleets and stuff, and make them think that UFOs are attacking and whatever else have you, that's the future, man. That's gonna win wars, because it's gonna totally disrupt. It's gonna disrupt the morale of the soldiers themselves psychologically. It's going to disrupt the entire chain of command. I mean, think about everything we've learned about war theater. It's we can send people into complete disarray, because we can now, I mean, think about the voice replication software. So now we can take their commander's voice and then spoof a signal where we have their commander betray them and tell them to do something, So it sounds like imagine your commander comes across the radio and tells you to go and gives you an order, and you go do it, and your whole like platoon gets shot and killed and like blown up. Let's it's things like that they can now do.
Yeah.
With this technology, and that's more essential to winning wars than anything. I mean, it's just better. It's better because they can just take everyone's outdated. They're relying on 1990s and 2000s level communications equipment, and we can just spoof and hack all that stuff with the right intelligence squadron, and that would win the war faster and better than. So they're really interested in this, and it's definitely in the top level of what intelligence is understanding and looking into right now. If you do the research and start digging into this kind of stuff deep, this is where it's at. So I think we're definitely on the right track here. It seems like this is. I've seen more funding, more. I mean, look at all the equipment here. There's money behind this. There's real machinery. There's real companies. I don't see any companies like there's Metamaterials Incorporated up in Nova Scotia, right? So in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, they have a Metamaterials company called Metamaterials Incorporated, but there's really nobody producing metamaterials and building metamaterials and working on that kind of level technologies around here. There's a lot of stuff in there that's come out of the classified programs, and maybe more will come out. We know a lot goes on in Columbus, Ohio at Battelle, and in Dayton, Ohio at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base and Wright State University here with the Air Force Research Labs and NASIC and everything that goes on there. So we know a good deal. We're learning more. So and encourage anyone else who has information, please reach out and send me an email. My email is thealienscientist@gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter at alienscientist_Twitter. At alien_scientist. So there's my Gmail. Please email me. There's my Twitter. You can send me messages on Twitter or tweet me on Twitter. And again, stay away from the disinfo pills, man. They're just going to lead you down false rabbit holes and get you like so confused. So confused. Yeah. So we're trying to dispel that confusion, and anyone who wants to get in touch with me and let me jump on, we're going to have an after party. I'm going to post the link here for the after party so that the stream can continue. on after party, and I got to call my kids and get going here today because I told them I'd go and hang out with them. So thank you all, and it's cool hanging out with you this morning on Memorial Day weekend. Enjoy the rain. Peace
all right,
out.
cool, man. Thanks.